What's up, guys? It is Justin, aka the HARDGAINER trainer. Today, I wanted to put together a guide for you guys on how to fix broken insulin sensitivity, which is something a lot of people struggle with. They get too fat on their bulks, they're just too fat in general, and their body can no longer process the nutrients they're giving it. They don't even get pumps anymore. Like, life fucking sucks. So, this guide is pretty hardcore. This is how to fix insulin insensitivity as fast as possible. I learned this from one of my old coaches, added some of my own knowledge to this. This is going to be hard. I'm not going to lie to you guys, especially if you're a little carb addict. But this is going to permanently fix the problem if you can do what I'm going to tell you to do in this guide. So let's get into it. So what is insulin sensitivity? Basically, it's how efficiently your body cells respond to the hormone insulin, which is released anytime you eat, especially when carbohydrates are present. Its main role is to shuttle nutrients, so glucose, amino acids, and fats, into your cells for storage or energy. The more sensitive your cells are to insulin, the better your body is at using food to build muscle instead of storing it as fat. So what is insulin resistance? It typically occurs when your body becomes less responsive to insulin due to constant exposure. So your insulin levels are high all the time. This is not a good thing. As a result, your body has to produce more and more insulin to achieve the same nutrient transport effect. So you build a tolerance to it. So the common causes of this are high carb diets, especially processed carbs, chronic overeating, excess body fat. This is why I tell you guys, don't bulk above 15%. This is what happens. Lack of activity, typically less of an issue in like the bodybuilding sense, but hey, it's there. And growth hormone abuse. A lot of dudes who abuse growth hormone become pre-diabetic. So over time, this can lead to pre-diabetes or full-blown type 2 diabetes. And in bodybuilding terms, it means worse pumps, slower recovery, and it's going to be harder to lose fat. So some signs of insulin resistance when it comes to specifically bodybuilding, not just being a regular old fat guy. So like the general symptoms of insulin resistance, you got like fatigue, thirst, got to pee all the time, and being really hungry all the time. When insulin's high, you're going to be hungry. Bodybuilders, when they get insulin resistance, they'll have flat muscles, weak pumps during training. You almost look flat and skinny fat at the same time. A lot of trouble losing fat around the abdominal area specifically. Poor recovery and muscle growth despite eating a fuck ton. So if you ever gotten to that point in your bulk where you're like, why am I not growing? I'm pounding food. That's why. Energy crashes after meals. So if you're putting down these high carb meals and all of a sudden you need a nap, you're probably insulin insensitive. So I'm going to teach you how to fix this in the fastest way possible. So part one of this is going to be diet. This is going to be the most important part, outshines everything else. So the first step to restoring insulin sensitivity is resetting your body's response to carbohydrates. Just like tolerance to anything, the way to lose it is by taking a break. You smoke too much weed and you're at the point where you need to smoke a fucking eighth to the face to feel anything. Yeah, it's time for a tea break, bro. So the approach to this is going to be cyclic keto. Cyclic, however the fuck you say it. Full carnivore or strict keto will kind of tank your training performance. So I don't recommend that for bodybuilders. That shit is for the birds. That's for moms trying to lose a quick couple pounds. So instead, I like to implement a cyclic keto approach. So 3 low carb days followed by 1 high carb day. It says low carb. What I'm talking about is no carb. So these low carb days, you're going to do 3 of them in a row. The macros are going to be high protein, moderate fat, and minimal carbs. Really, the only carbs are going to be trace carbs from your veggies, which is mostly fiber anyway, so it's not going to cause an insulin response. So food sources for days like this are going to be whole eggs, lean beef, salmon, chicken thighs, white fish, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, green veggies. So like when people are doing like true keto or carnivore, they're slamming fucking ribeyes all day. That's not the way for this. You don't want like a crazy high fat intake because you are not going to lose any body fat. So like you're going to need more fats than usual for energy because you're not using carbohydrates for energy. But like a lot of people just go way too hard on the fat and it's kind of destroys the point of this. So And then when I say green veggies, it doesn't necessarily have to be like just green veggies, but you don't want starchy vegetables. You don't want vegetables with a lot of sugar. So like corn, peas, carrots, that's not shit you want in there. Talking spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, bell peppers, do onions. Sorry, guys. So you're gonna get a high carb day every fourth day. This is gonna like replenish your glycogen stores and help keep training performance from taking too big of a hit. You're probably gonna lose some strength on this diet, but what do you want more? To be able to bench 315 or not look like shit and feel like shit all the time? I'm taking the second option. If you want to be a 30% body fat power lifter, you're listening to the wrong guy. So macros for this are going to be high carbs, low fat, moderate protein. So food sources, it's going to be a little more limited actually. Chicken breast, egg whites, white rice, potatoes, oats, fruit, green veggies. So for this, or really any lean meat. So we're not doing beef. Beef has a decent amount of trace fat. Chicken breast, white fish, extra lean ground turkey. I guess I forgot to put that in there. You're not going to do any added fats on this days. Mixing carbs and fats when you're trying to like restore insulin sensitivity is not a great idea, because you're giving your body two energy sources at once. It's going to use the energy source that's easier to use, which is carbohydrates, and then just store the fat. You're going to want to train really hard on this day to utilize the carbs effectively. You're going to want to train hard every day, but I'd try and make like your leg day fall on this day if you can. So you're going to run this for about 4 weeks before transitioning into like a standard cut. So I made some sample meal plans right here for this. So this is the low day. You got meal 1, 6 whole eggs and veggies. Meal 2, 8 ounces of 93.7 ground beef veggies, 8 ounces of chicken thighs, some olive oil and veggies. Flank steak, coconut oil and veggies. Meal 5, 4 whole eggs and 8 ounces of 93 ground beef. There's no added carbs in this besides the veggies. So if your body is, if you're insulin insensitive, your body is addicted to carbohydrates, straight up. You might literally feel withdrawals. I'm just warning you. But hey, what's more important? Eating your carbs or not looking like shit and feeling like shit? I'm taking the second. So high days. I'm going to do these every fourth day. This is going to basically bring you back to life. So you got meal 1, egg whites, oats, and banana. Meal 2, chicken breast, white rice, veggies. Same thing for meal 3. Meal 8, 8 ounces of 99.1 ground turkey. When I say lean, I don't mean 93.7. I mean 99.1. Some potatoes and veggies. Post-workout, you got whey, cream of rice, and fruit. So this is going to give you enough carbs to make it to the next high carb day, essentially. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty basic meal plan. Like, obviously, you can play around with things if you want to switch chicken for tilapia. Hey, that's on you. This is just a sample idea of what to do. I figured I wouldn't just like say do this without giving you guys an example of what I mean. All right, now let's get into training. So I believe strongly that the most powerful insulin sensitizer or glucose disposal agent or nutrient partitioner is simply training hard. If you want your muscle to become the most insulin sensitive part of your body and therefore be absorbing the nutrients you're putting into it, you have to fucking train hard. Wow, shocker. Train hard or you're wasting your time in the gym. So what do I mean by that? Train to failure every time. Only exercises I'd stay away from failure from are bench press, squats, and deadlifts. Everything else, fair game. And you can even push it beyond failure. You got rest pause sets, drop sets. I fucking love those. You'll know your workout was hard enough to increase insulin sensitivity if you are starving after. That's what it should be like. You should be drenched in sweat and starving when you finish your workout. Low carb days, intensity is still going to matter. It's going to feel harder. You're going to have less energy. Too bad. Train like you got 1,000 grams of carbs. This is key. Your strength is going to tank faster if you try and rationalize and say, I'm on less carbs, so I can't train as hard. Too bad. I did this shit for like 4 weeks during my prep to break a plateau. I still trained my face off. If you really want to add a cherry on top of this, you can finish off your training sessions with Tabata sets. So essentially, it's HIIT for your muscles. So a Tabata set, you do a 4-minute set, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds of rest. So you're going to want to use lightweight. Honestly, the first 2 rounds are probably going to feel easy, and everything after that is going to be hell. So something you would do for this, you'd probably want to use a pretty stable exercise, so a machine. So say leg press, for example. I would throw 1 plate on each side. I can leg press 8 plates for reps, but for this, I'd be throwing a plate on each side. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 4 minutes. This shit will cook you, and it'll crank your metabolism and insulin sensitivity for minimum 24 hours. All right, cardio, the thing everyone hates. Probably why you're insulin insensitive in the first place, because you weren't doing your fucking cardio. So I am not usually strict about whether cardio is fasted or, after you've had a couple meals. With this specific case, I highly recommend fasted cardio. It's going to, I don't know why it says deplete glycogen. I ran this through ChatGPT. I typed it up myself, made it more presentable with ChatGPT, but it changed a couple things around. So this is not to deplete glycogen. That is not the point of this. The point of this is you wake up with glucose in your bloodstream from, the meals you ate the night before. This is going to get rid of that. You're going to prime your body to use nutrients more efficiently throughout the rest of your day. It's probably going to increase hunger doing fasted cardio. That's too bad. Any effective diet, you will be hungry. This is part of the reset. If you want it to work, fight through it. All right, part 3, supplementation. So, diet and secondly, training are really going to drive results for this, but you can use over-the-counter supplements and PEDs to enhance this progress. This is not cycle advice. I'm not telling you to take this. However, if I was going to use PEDs to enhance this process, this is what I would choose. So for over-the-counter supplements, you're going to want to get some apple cider vinegar. Just take a shot out of the fucking jug with meals 1, 3, and 5 every day. This shit is insane for improving insulin sensitivity. I remember the first time I used it, it brought my fasting blood glucose from like 90 to 70. It's insane. You want to get the real stuff, like the liquid in the jug. It's way more effective than like the pill supplements. It tastes like ass, but hey, fight through it. Another one is going to be a berberine chromium cinnamon supplement. You can find these on Amazon. You're going to want to take these on your days where you do have carbs on meals 1, 3, and 5. These help, they're glucose disposal agents, so they essentially mimic what insulin does and help effectively shuttle nutrients where they need to go. All right, PEDs, the part you were all waiting for. No, I'm not going to tell you that you can just ignore all this and take Tren to offset your shitty diet. So let's get into it. So here is what I would do, simply based on compounds that increase insulin sensitivity. So obviously, testosterone base. Testosterone itself does improve insulin sensitivity. It's not like known for that, but it does. So testosterone, you know me, I believe a cycle is anything 500 milligrams a week or over. So that's what I would recommend. So that's going to be like your baseline. You need a test base any cycle. So the other compounds I chose, Winstrol, 50 milligrams a day. This shit increases nutrient partitioning like crazy. It makes carbs go where they're supposed to go, protein go where it's supposed to go, fat go where it's supposed to go. Once again, not an end-all, be-all. It doesn't replace your diet, but it is going to enhance what you're already doing. All right, controversial one, trenbolone acetate. This shit increases insulin sensitivity like no other fucking steroid. It's the reason why like Tren is probably one of the only steroids that actually has a fat loss effect. So 1 to 200 mgs a week, to avoid mental sides, but get the benefits out of it. There's a reason like when you take Tren, you find yourself like going hypoglycemic more because it just fucking sucks all the carbs out of your bloodstream into your muscles. All right, let's get into like non-steroid compounds that we can use. So Retatrutide, very popular one right now. GLP-1 agonist, GIP agonist, whatever the fuck other. It's a triple agonist. I'm not the science guy. If you want that, go watch some Tanner Tattered or something. But retatrutide is going to help curb hunger, which if you're a carb addict, you're probably going to be very hungry during this. But it's also going to greatly improve insulin sensitivity and fat loss. So I'd start at 1 milligram a week, titrate up if needed. Okay, we got metformin, 1,000 milligrams a day. Don't stack this with retatrutide. This is for if retatrutide isn't accessible because of, I'm not even going to say sourcing. It's so easy to find now. More because of the price. Retatrutide can be expensive. Metformin improves glucose uptake. It actually increases the amount of GLUT4 receptors on your muscle, so it insulin sensitizes your muscles. I'd recommend retatrutide over this just because metformin can cause some GI distress, especially like the first 2 weeks you're on it. You can deal with some bloating. Your piss is going to smell awful. But I think it's still a viable compound. Don't take metformin if you are not on testosterone. If you are natural, metformin will actually lower your testosterone. If you're on test, it doesn't matter. All right, some other peptides. You got MOTS-C, 6 to 10 mgs a week, split into 3 doses. This stuff's also pretty expensive. But it basically improves the effectiveness of your mitochondria in your cells. So it's going to improve your metabolism. SLU-PP332, 250 micrograms pre-cardio and pre-workout. It's going to boost your fat oxidation during your training. It's a exercise mimetic. So it basically makes your body think it's working harder than it is, to put it in simple terms. All right. And lastly, we got cardarine. This one's kind of old school. It gets lumped in with SARMs a lot. It's not a SARM. What it does, it improves your endurance, so you're going to be able to go harder on your cardio, and it keeps your body essentially more in a fat-burning metabolism and improves your insulin sensitivity. It also improves cholesterol and other blood markers, which if your insulin sensitivity sucks, your cholesterol probably sucks too. Fair warning with that one. They did some shitty studies on it where they just megadosed rats with it for years and they got cancer. So be aware of that. All right, part 4. Maintaining your insulin sensitivity. Obviously, we don't want to regress. You just did all this fucking hard work. Like, this month is probably going to suck. So we want to never lose our insulin sensitivity again. So here's what you need to do. Implement carb cycling. So essentially what this is almost the same idea as the diet I laid out before, except rather than doing like these 0 carb days for 3 days in a row, you're going to do low, medium, and high carb days based on training intensity and muscle priority. So essentially what that would look like is, say your low day is, 200 grams of carbs, medium is 400, and high day is 600. Just throwing out numbers. Those aren't macro recommendations. But essentially that's the ratio I like to use. High carb days, obviously you want to throw on either really hard training days like legs or back, or if you have any lagging muscle groups, like say my arms suck, so I like to do high days on my arm days. And you're going to want to stick to this. It's going to keep you from regressing. Second, stick to whole foods. The processed fucking foods, cheat meals, I know that's what caused your issue. If you're insulin insensitive, I know damn well you're not eating a bodybuilding diet. So stick to an actual fucking meal plan. I just gave you a meal plan. I have sample meal plans that if you DM me, I believe the lead word for that is plan. If you DM me that, I have some fucking pre-made plans that, they're not custom to you, but hey, it gives you an idea of where to start. All right, cheat meals. 1 cheat meal, not cheat day, per week, max, if you even need it. I don't think you need cheat meals. I think they're a nice break from the rigidity of bodybuilding, but you don't need it. All right, last part. Say it with me now. Stay lean year-round. No, you don't have to have fucking shredded ab veins year-round. That's not what I'm saying. That's actually not something I would recommend. I want you guys to grow muscle, which does involve being in a slight surplus sometimes. However, never let your body fat get above 15%, even when you're bulking. This shit is not, like, getting that fat is not going to help you put on more muscle. It's actually probably going to make you put on less muscle than you would if you stayed lean. You know why? Because being above 15% destroys your insulin sensitivity. Duh. Your pumps are going to suck. Your training's going to suck. Why would you do that to yourself again? Higher body fat is going to equal chronically elevated insulin levels and poor nutrient partitioning. Your muscles are not getting the fucking fuel delivered to them efficiently. So all those carbs you're putting in, aren't going to give you pumps. They're just going to float around in your bloodstream until they get stored. All right, just to sum it up for you guys, restoring insulin sensitivity is going to be about discipline and structure. Reset your carb sensitivity with a cyclic keto approach. Train hard to keep yourself insulin sensitivity. To keep yourself insulin sensitive. Sorry, it's late, guys. And use supplementation to enhance the process if that's something you're willing to take the risk of. And then afterwards, you need to stay lean and structured long term. Master this shit. Your food will build muscle and not fat the way it should. You'll never run into this issue again if you do what I'm saying. So that's about it for this guide, guys. I think this one is one of the best ones I've ever made. Obviously, got to throw out some plugs at the end. If you guys want to watch like my full bodybuilding breakdown, I'll link it in the description. It's an hour-long video, some of the best value I've ever put out. What else? Oh, my sponsors, obviously. We got PGR Labs, great peptide source. Code, what is it? I believe it's Justin15 for 15% off. Maskwatch, some local Utah. Oh, I'm actually wearing it right now. Fuck yeah. Local Utah bodybuilding merch company. They support all the shows out here. They're fucking awesome. Code Justin10 for 10% off. And I recently partnered with Canabolics. They got a lot of CBD-infused recovery products. Help you stay pain-free. They also have some fucking 1,000 milligram edibles, but I am too pussy for that. I don't smoke weed anymore. Anything else I got to plug? Oh yeah, obviously, if you guys want like just access to shit like this every day and not have to watch my guides and have a plan around the clock 24/7, I'm a bodybuilding coach. Send me a DM on Instagram. We'll talk. I think that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe.